meeting after a while this time,
Right.
uh, but we have a lot of things to catch up and talk to, especially in the media side. One of the topics that I have actually chosen this week, I'm sure you'll like the topic, would be interesting for our discussion for the first segment. So, are you up for that?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Okay. So recently I came across that Google has published a paper on a new methodology, what they call is Infini-Attention. And basically, what my understanding of that is that it allows LLMs to process infinitely long inputs. So, what are the implications of this from a scalability standpoint? If you look at the AI applications that runs today, but even before that, if you can share a little bit about what is this infinite attention.
Right, right. So actually, if you remember, we talked about the release of Gemini some time back, and this paper
Hmm.
extends some of those claims that Gemini had made. So Gemini Pro has a context window of 1 million tokens, and we talked about that as well. Context window really is the number of tokens that a model can work at any time. Um,
What is the
so
current
uh,
limitation of this token?
Gemini Pro had said 1 million tokens, which
Okay,
was about 700,000 words, almost like one book, right? And
correct.
what Google has done is it has published this paper, and which really talks about a context window which can be stretched infinitely, and that really will help uh, the large language models to perform better, because you can sort of ingest varying amounts of text, which includes data and all of those things at an infinite scale. Uh, and behind this architecture is what Google is calling as a compressive memory linear attention uh, block within the transformer. So what it does is there is the classic attention mechanism of a transformer block, and then an extended compressive memory module is added to it. So whenever the transformer block requires additional memory, it just pushes into the compressive memory component, which can be sort of extended on a need basis. And it also allows the large language model to be more computationally efficient. In order to compute the final output, the transformer uses the transformer block context as well as the extended compressive memory as its attention context. So that really is a very subtle and very transformative modification to the architecture that has been published in this paper. Uh, Through continual pre-training and fine tuning, we can extend it to fairly large context. So that's what it's being talked about in this.
So that definitely sounds very significant in terms of the expansion and the possibilities. Uh,
Correct.
Particularly focusing on the constraints that we have today. Many of them probably are going to go away with this infinite possibility of adding inputs for it to process, right? While I think what I understood from what you're saying is it would not have the dependency of caching and it will be in real time in terms of getting the inputs. Therefore, the performance will improve, and the expandability will improve. Therefore, it will be able to sort of deliver lot more larger set of or complex set of sort of output, right? Um, all right. So, in terms of future, right, where do you see this is going to be more applicable in terms of applications or AI applications?
So the applications could be very, very diverse and vast. Uh, for example, theoretically, I mean, you could sort of insert all of the documents that you have into the prompt and let the model pick the relevant parts for each of the queries. So you don't need to be constrained from a technique point of view in terms of chunking the documents and identifying specific chunks for you to query, right? Uh, and then it could also enable you to customize the model by providing it with a long list of examples to improve its performance on specific activities or tasks, right? So without the need of fine tuning it. So this is probably going to come in as another of those techniques that can help us in uh, customizing or enterprises in fine tuning some of the large language models for their custom use or usage, right? So that will definitely lower the entry barrier for various applications of large language models across the enterprise.
Are, are there any other limitations apart from the token limitations, right? What we currently had, which is 1 million, according to Google's last paper, and now it is infinite. Uh, are there any other limitations are there with respect to generative AI besides this that may be an hindrance to both in terms of speed and performance, or even to some extent maybe even adaptability in the industry?
Yeah, I mean there are generative AI as such is not a single one size all fit for all the applications. I mean there are like classical AI models, machine learning models, and statistical models, which are probably more effective in certain cases. With generative AI, can be used to build the narrative around that, right?
Mm.
Obviously, I mean, we have seen various reports of generative AI being costly because of the large amount of GPUs that is required to run it. And then what has really caught the attention, obviously, of everyone is the ease of use. Right? So you can just
Mm.
insert. So
Mm.
obviously, that part of the adoption will increase with such innovations coming in, like larger
Mm.
context,
Mm.
and which will result in more and more usage of generative AI tools by a larger section of the enterprise. But at the same time, I mean, we'll have to keep in mind the fit for purpose of all of these technologies, not use uh, uh, aspects, technology aspects, which are not particularly useful in one context to the other. So I think we'll have to take a more holistic approach of across various AI or machine learning applications before we adopt one particular technology.
Awesome. So I think this obviously is a significant development, and we'll have to wait
Right.
to see that in terms of the when we can get an access to this. So far it looks like it's the method. Probably we can expect Gemini to come out with this first before the others follow suit.
Yeah, yeah. I'm assuming. I mean, there will be others who are working on it because these are techniques and not necessarily software products. So definitely, I mean, there will be others. But yeah, on the whole, this is a very exciting field. A lot of developments, a lot of research going on. So we will continue to see some of these innovations throughout the year.
Great. So we'll wrap up with this, our first segment, and I'll meet you shortly in segment two.
Sure. Yeah.
Hey Shiva, welcome back to the segment two.
Hey, hi, Ruby. Yeah, thank you.
In segment two today, let's talk about a very important aspect of AI implementation and the success of any AI project, um, and that is interoperability. So the emphasis on generative AI's capabilities basically kind of risks overshadowing the broader applications of AI systems, right? While the achievements of generative AI are impressive, there is a concern about overemphasis on such technologies, particularly only focusing on generative AI piece. How can diversifying our focus beyond just generative AI lead to more balanced adoption and integration?
Yeah, yeah. In fact, I mean, I would say we have to focus on an AI sort of an approach which encompasses traditional predictive AI, machine learning, because they have the capability to add tremendous value to the organization. And before the recent Gen AI-led wave, organizations have been using classical AI predictive models across variety of enterprise use cases. For example, forecasting, building recommender systems, uh, uh, churn models, understanding customer behavior. Right? These are aspects where organizations have been using predictive AI or machine learning techniques, even statistical models. So just focusing on Gen AI only will really result in below par adoption and also impact of the technologies that are there out for the organization to adopt. Right?
Got it.
Uh,
Yeah, got it. So, just picking up a cue from what you just said. So, one AI, and I heard you, sort of talking about and even expressing that on LinkedIn as well. I know that that is an important topic to discuss here. So, the concept of one AI, right, with seamless interoperability, can that enhance the effectiveness of overall AI project success? Should the
yeah,
organization be
absolutely.
looking at the larger aspect and rather than emphasizing on just generative AI?
Exactly, exactly. I mean, to me, I mean, that is the only approach that will add true enterprise value. Because if you really see at the ground level, I mean, the heart of any AI application is the ability to recognize patterns and predict. The one AI approach builds on this to provide value with seamless interoperability between various AI applications, data, and other enterprise, for example, transaction applications, right? So it is the only approach in the long term, I would say, which can provide a lasting, sustaining enterprise value.
Okay. But again, it's easier said than done, right? I mean, what kind of challenges or hurdles that you see working through this whole interoperability across different parts of AI system, right? Um, what kind of challenges do you see? At least if someone at an organizational level, if it, let's say at a CIO level, if they are looking at that kind of a sort of landscape, right?
Right.
What challenges potentially they may face, or at least we are seeing among our customers.
Yeah. The challenges primarily are data related and really how each system interprets the data. What is really important is getting to a common understanding of data at an enterprise level, using techniques and some of the tools like data cataloging, metadata tagging, uh, even getting to a common sort of a customer. master resolving various entities across various different sources. So these are some of the foundations that will enable interoperability, not just across Gen AI applications and other aspects of AI as well as data, but across various different AI applications as well, right? The data foundation is extremely critical for any enterprise to really move towards the one AI adoption.
Mm. Yeah, looks like this is at the level of your data strategy, right? Uh,
Exactly, exactly.
so when you are thinking of data strategy, I think you need to think as one AI, how they are going to actually interact or share um, exchanges, um, sort of different set of data across different tools and
Yeah,
systems.
exactly, exactly. For example, I mean, your uh, customer master, product master, which your ERP applications understand, has to
Mm.
be same as what your CRM applications understand, right? Because
Right.
when you're trying to sort of uh, get to a sales forecasting at the CRM level, or understand, I mean, what is going to be your win loss ratio, or win probability for a particular bid. I mean, you need
Hmm.
to understand where you need to have the same language of data across your various enterprise applications.
Yeah, yeah. No, that is definitely true. So, what kind of communication or collaboration happens between these multiple systems and tools? Can you? I mean, this is one use cases. Can you think of any other use cases maybe in the inter? I mean, just to contextualize more on the interoperability piece, right?
Yeah, so I can touch upon one application that we built or rather enhanced recently. Our charter was to really see how inputs from generative AI tools, from some of the bid documents, some of the customer conversations can help in improving the probability of sales win. We used data in an existing from an existing BI or a data warehouse, which was used to kind of power a BI application, and on top of the data, which was which which was predicting like a win ratio or a probability of a customer getting converted, we built in a generative AI based application which looks at insights from bid documents, insights from customer conversations, to provide more inputs to the sales team, uh, so that the sales team can improve the probability
Communication.
of
Yeah.
winning that bid by
Mm.
using all of this data from unstructured sources, unstructured conversations. So that is was one use case where I can think of, uh,
Mm.
where we married a lot of the enterprise data,
Mm.
made it interoperable to along to the application based on Gen AI that we were writing, and
Mm.
then provide a very relevant pointed output to the
Mm.
sales teams.
Yeah. So in one hand, we had the data warehouse, which is giving us the ability to build predictive capabilities. On the other
Yeah,
hand, we have the Gen AI capabilities, which is giving us a sort of a capability to create more creative pitch, or working on connecting some of those data and building a new way of sort of presenting that information. That basically, that's where the innovation comes in, right? I
correct,
guess
correct, correct.
so. That's the right usage
Yeah,
for
yeah. So
that particular
narrative is
purpose.
something that generative AI applications are very good at, and you
Correct.
rightly said. I mean, a
Correct.
more creative pitch or a more sort of structured and more authentic pitch, using all of these data sources and the previous learnings as well.
So in terms of making this right, where do you think ideally the the enterprise customers should start thinking. I mean, um, they need to step back and have a bigger view in terms of how these interoperable systems will come into play, right? In terms of a strategy before they start
Absolutely, absolutely.
implementing those individual projects.
Exactly, exactly. So there are two aspects of implementing such systems. I mean, one is as a productivity tool for individuals, right, where you could have, for example, I mean, an analyst ask questions, building some tool from GenAI asking questions around certain documents, certain research papers, etc. So that could be a productivity improvement tool. But then, especially when you look at an enterprise-wide application, one AI or one single view of how all the components of BI, predictive AI, as well as Gen AI can come together to provide a more sort of holistic uh, view along with the narrative to the decision maker or the frontline staff.
So that goes back to our whole data management piece, right?
Exactly, exactly. Data management is going to be
The
key.
central
Yeah,
part.
yeah, absolutely.
Great. I think so. This was really a valuable discussion in terms of um, when the organizations are starting off today, thinking of those individual productivity or automation use cases. Um, I think getting the data right is an important criteria to make some of these projects more successful and more future proof, in terms of scalability and expansion across. Great. Thank you, Shiva, for your time today, and we'll catch up soon again.
Thank you, Jaideep.
Thanks.